Hi, Adrienne. My name is Jayleen, and I want to
Hi.
thank you for coming in today. Um, let's go over a little bit what's going to happen today. We're going to be here for approximately 45 to 50 minutes. Um, we'll go over just small talk that you and I can get to know each other a little better, and then you can go into any issues that you're having.
Okay.
Anything that we do say to each other will be kept in this room between us. I may take some notes, but anything that I do write down, I can give you at the end of this session.
Okay.
Okay? And let's start out with what is a typical day like for you?
Busy.
Busy. Okay. And what is busy to you?
Well, like this morning I got up at the alarm went off at 4:30. I got up at 4:45. I made my boyfriend lunch. He left at 5 to go to work. Then I laid back down for a little bit and then I got up about 8:30. Got ready, came to school. Then after we get done from school, I go normally straight to work. And then straight to from work. Then I go back to my boyfriend's house because I have an Avon class at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay. So that's a lot of traveling for you.
Yes,
That's okay. So you go straight from school to work
normally
on most
yes,
days?
on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays?
hmm
Okay. And do you work a full-time job or are you
I'm
part-time?
technically part time, but my hours are almost full time,
Right,
but not
right.
technically.
On paper, you're
Right, right.
part-time. Okay. And what brings you to see us today?
Work.
Okay, what's going on at work?
I feel like I've been at Sam's Club for 2 years. And I work at the service desk right now, and I train all associates, and I just feel like I'm not getting anywhere with what I'm doing at work.
Okay.
Like they've asked me a few times to go to a higher position, and I haven't been chose.
Okay, so you're not happy with the not being able to move up in your position, more
Right.
or less. No promotions, no. Um, okay. And did you get hired on where you're at now? Did you get hired on in the position that you're at, or have you gotten a promotion or two to get to that level that you're at now?
I started as a cashier.
Okay, so that was a promotion to get into the office?
Right.
Okay.
From the cashier.
Okay, and what was that process
Of what?
of moving from cashier to the office?
Basically getting numbers. When we have to ask members to either upgrade to Plus or sign up for a credit card. And if you get so many, that's part of your job. And we had to transfer, items from one cart to another. So I guess they seemed that I did okay with that, so they moved me to the desk.
Okay. And did you, so where you're at now, is that the same process per se to get a promotion? That they look at your numbers and,
Yep. And they also look at well, cause see, I train associates too, so I feel like sometimes they take that into, oh, she trains, so we're not gonna move her.
so you train other people that are coming in.
Right, to be working at the desk.
Okay. And then do those other people move on elsewhere throughout the store?
Sometimes.
Now, is it a higher position or just a different position?
Sometimes it's either or. You can move to a higher position, or you can move at the same level into a new position, depending on what levels of area in the store we are.
Okay.
Like right now, I'm at a level 4. If I go up to like a supervisor, that's a level 5. And I think also like a member champ or mobile is also a 5.
Okay.
And cashiers are 3. So,
So these people that you're training, they're walking away with the knowledge that you've taught them, more or
right,
less,
right,
and they're getting promoted.
right.
How does that make you feel?
Sometimes it's hard. I feel like, I gave them the knowledge, so why should they have to move and not me?
Right. So are there specific things that you've tried? Are there specific things that you can do that you can see that you can do that you haven't done, or have you
Well, I got
tried everything
my
that you can think of?
my yearly eval, and they just said basically if my numbers were consistent. But with training 3 or 4 people at a time, or every so often, it's hard for me to focus on my numbers or try to help them and sign up members for new memberships
Right.
and explain to them the steps that they have or what they have to become a member or the benefits that we offer to them.
Okay. Now, have you spoken to upper management regarding, you're spending your time training others?
I have. They just kind of, I guess, overlooked it. And then sometimes they bring in people that that they want me to train, and I feel like they're not successful. So they're like, oh, well, we need your help to say yes, are they going to stay, or yes, they don't need to stay,
Right.
or do we need to move them somewhere else? Like, the desk is not rocket science, but if you don't take notes or recall your information that we've done through the day, you're not going to remember. So I try to tell, every associate that I train, hey, you need to take your notes. And a lot of times, that they don't take their notes, or I'm like, where are your notes? And they're like, oh, in my car. Well, you're trying to learn this position, so if your notes are in your car, how are you going to be able to recall?
Right.
Because sometimes it's frustrating whenever I'm trying to work with a member and then they need help on someone else, and I feel like, well, where's your notes? You could have recalled. We went over this.
Right. Right. Now, obviously, it sounds like you're a little bit stressed with stuff that goes on top of, I mean, travel will wear you out.
Right.
The driving will wear you out, um, regardless of how young you are. um, do you do you feel like it's the stress at work is getting carried over into your personal life?
Sometimes, like my boyfriend knows that they always ask me to move up to a different position, and then they come to me next day and say, "Oh, you didn't get it." So sometimes, but I feel try to think positive on something will come better.
Right.
And it's overwhelming because I am in school. I work all these crazy hours. I work every weekend, and sometimes I feel like, where's my Monday through Friday job?
Right.
you
Right. Right.
know, and a lot of people, like one of our ladies in marketing, she used to um, do our scheduling, and they're like, well, you guys can't have every weekend off, and it's like, well, you guys have every weekend off, so you don't know how it is if you work every weekend. So and sometimes I feel like even with scheduling, they look over my request and give it to new people because I know the knowledge.
So do you feel like, from what I'm getting, is that you are a good employee just because of you training these people that are going out onto the floor and getting the promotions to go to different positions and stuff? Do you ever see that part of it? Does that ever make you feel good about what you're doing? Or how does that make you feel?
Sometimes, but then sometimes I feel like, well, why did they deserve it? Because like some of the people used to call in all the time, or just other things that I've seen that they've done. Or sometimes with some of the questions that supervisors are, I don't want to get them upset or get myself in trouble, but they always come and ask me, what's the answer?
Right.
When they should know if they're in that higher position.
Okay.
And then recently too, like they have me sometimes go out on drives with them to work. And I know this week they want to send me out on my own, and it's like, well, I don't get the pay that you make, or my weekends, or full time hours. So why should I? I feel like I'm in that position. Why should I do that for you?
Right.
Why should I
Right.
go out and do that?
Yeah, I agree with that. That's yeah. Um, so do you like your position that you do? Do you like what you do?
I do. It's just sometimes it's frustrating if I don't have the full time hours or the pay. But
That's what was gonna be my next question was if you got a raise but stayed in the same position. Do you think, I mean, would you be happy with that?
yeah, I mean, like right now, like I'm almost at full time, but I don't make full time hours, consistently.
Right.
And I don't. I mean, obviously, I just got my yearly raise, and that was a little bit, but it's like, obviously, you always want more,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially for what I do. Sometimes I feel like when I'm at the desk, I have to make a manager call. Like basically, if I'm doing a return or this and that, what would the manager say? And so every manager usually tells you different. But sometimes I still call and ask, but I've gotten better to like just do what they think would be best because you're there to take care of the member.
Right. Right. Yeah, customer service is it's a little hard sometimes. Um, because the customer is always right, correct?
Right. I mean, like one of other new people asked me, oh, well, they want you to do this because, you've been at the desk longer. And it's like, well, not necessarily. I mean, obviously, I know what I'm doing, but they should be in my tracks too. Like, if there was 10 of me, it would be fine.
Right. Right.
So,
Okay.
and,
So.
it was very, like, Saturday, for instance. Like, I was supposed to be there at 2:45. I was a few minutes late, but one of the new managers, well, he's not new. He actually was over the front end when I first started. Then he went to grocery, and now he's back over the front end. So he met me at the time clock and was like, well, can you finish up the click and pull orders? Which normally we do click and pull Monday through Friday, but on the weekends, the associates at the desk have to do that. So he was like, well, you need to finish the 3 o'clock or the 6 o'clock order. And I'm like, well, only one I see is the 3 o'clock. And then we're supposed to be done every morning. And they're like, well, your associate was an hour late. I'm like, well, and it's 3 o'clock and it's not done. It should have been done at 7.
Right.
And then, one of the supervisors was like, well, Adrienne was supposed to be here at this time. Where's she at? And I, grabbed a walkie just in case, I needed to go help or whatever. And I'm like, well, I'm doing this order that the manager told me to do. They're like, oh, I wanted to make sure you were here. So I'm like, okay, I'm here and, I'm doing what the manager told me, but it was very frustrating and it kind of made my mood, you know, like
That was just one more thing on top of
yeah, like I'm,
everything else that's going
right.
on. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Saturdays, usually it's your day to get stuff done. And, I had a good morning and then, here come 2:45 and it's like, oh, I got to go to work.
Right.
So it's like you drop everything, let's go to work.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, that's got to be difficult.
and especially when your manager meeting you at the time clock and saying, oh, you need to do this. And I'm thinking, can I clock in?
Right.
So.
Oh, so you were getting to work
Right, like I was
when he
already,
asked.
yeah, I
Okay.
was,
I
like
thought you were at the time clocking out and he asked you to do something extra
no, I
before
was
you left.
actually clocking
Okay.
in.
Okay. Okay, I get it.
Yep, I was clocking in, and he was like, "Well, you need to do this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, why is it just now getting done?
Right. So
And then,
you're filling
his
in.
comment was saying, "Well, they don't know how to do it." I said, "Oh, yes, they do." And then one of the associates told me the next day that she didn't want to. Basically, she told him that she didn't know how to do it because she didn't want to do it. And like every associate has been trained at that desk to do this position because they, I guess, second job code us. So obviously we're at the desk, but then we can fill in other,
Right.
kind of
Right.
everywhere where there needs to be on the weekends.
Now, when he said that they don't know how to do it, um, did you ask him, if they could come with you to learn it? Is that
Well, it was a
or
Saturday. We were doing a kind of like a pre Black Friday event.
right?
So it was very, very busy. And I was just like, whatever. I took initiative and did it. And sometimes obviously they know I want to move. And sometimes if I like help out, like one day he wanted me to go outside and push the carts, get him and organized. So when the cart guy come, it was easier. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And he was like, well, I'm glad you're stepping up. And it's like, well, he says this all the time, but I'm not getting nowhere. So he sees that I'm like trying to get, I guess, do things to make me move, or I guess, get initiative. But it's just like frustrating, especially meeting me at the time clock. And then it kind of felt me, feel bad, like, well, these girls were trained.
Right.
Why are they just not doing it? And I'm sorry that your first associate was late. I had no control of over that.
Right. 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 That definitely shouldn't fall on you. Somebody else's actions.
Right. Or they should have made me open. Then, to get stuff done, and then they could have closed.
Right.
And then that night also, I didn't leave till about 9:30, but that was my time to leave. So I'm like, well, I'm leaving. I try to help what I could do because at nighttime we have to go help fold clothes, and that's hard too. After your whole day, and that end of the store should have been already done, but every night we have to go help, which no big deal. We're kind of used to it now. So, and then like two people over in mobile didn't even have lunches, so they had to stay till like 11 o'clock. Our store closed at 8:30, but they had like people cell phone appointments that had to be done.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So,
Well, it sounds like everybody, or a lot of people have. It seems like extra stuff put on, I
mhm,
guess, and
yeah,
and you're feeling that stress. Um, so you've tried quite a few things
mhm,
as far as to to get that extra step in your job. Is there anything that you can think of that you haven't tried that you can? Have you talked to a specific manager or person above you regarding
Well,
this?
see,
That
like
you
last
do put
year,
yourself out there?
I had a writ or like a writing up, like a coaching as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to one of the managers, and I'm like, hey, it was like the day after Black Friday or something. It was one busy day, and I checked in something, and the guy said he never used it. And it was a camera, which the steps on doing that is calling for someone to come and check it in. Well, after everything was said and done, they're like, oh, but you returned a camera that doesn't even have a camera in it. I'm like, he said he never used it. I never thought twice of checking it because he never
Right,
used it.
right.
So come to find out, it never left our store. So after they do inventory, they call the guy thinking then that he was a thief. And after everything was said and done, the camera was in the lockup. So obviously I got, a written up because of not getting it properly checked in.
So the box was empty, but the customer didn't even open it to know it was empty,
Right,
more or less.
because it was a display box. So when it's a display box, they have to go and get it from, the
Oh,
camera associate or, a higher up supervisor to get it
right,
out of lockup. So then, that fell back on me, which, no big deal. So, I'm like, oh, I should have fought it. So, almost a year later, I'm like, I talked to one of the new managers and he dropped it. So it gave me the option to be in run for a promotion or, going somewhere else. And he's like, I'm going to drop it, but it doesn't move me. It just gives me in the running for it. So, I was like, okay, no big deal. And come to find out, I had an interview and I didn't get picked that time. So it was kind of made me feel like, well, why did you even drop the coaching? You could have left it on there until it really dropped.
right.
So, and they had two positions open. They brung some lady in that has been kind of with, I guess it's called like BJ's or something. It's kind of like Sam's and Costco's, but it's another thing in another state. And she has kind of a little bit of background, but. And then we had a guy that worked for Securitas that, securityed
Mm-hmm.
our building, and he actually quit that and became a supervisor at a store. So that kind of felt, obviously he has more experience behind, but as far as learning our store and how our stores run, he really, he's an outsider versus being inside.
Right, right.
So he's the one that got the full-time position. And it's kind of frustrating because I know that they're going to come and ask me questions.
Yeah, it sounds like. Have you ever thought of moving stores? Is there any other stores close in the
Um,
vicinity for you to move to, or have you
I
looked into
thought
it?
about it at one point because you can't move with the coaching, but obviously now my coaching is dropped, I could. There is like the Greenwood store, and then there is the one on like Rockville, which that would be perfect. That's one exit from my boyfriend's house. So obviously that would be nice, but sometimes I feel like location wise too. Like I live on the east side, but he lives in Avon. He works in Brownsburg, so it's still
That's
kind of and I still live at home technically. So it's hard, especially I lost my mom like 2 years ago, so that's hard, like leaving my dad. Sometimes we stay a couple nights there just to, hey.
right, right.
So like last night we were there, which was easier to come here versus driving 40 minutes from Avon.
From Avon,
So
right.
he does help when it comes to commuting, my boyfriend. So he'll say, well, we'll stay up at your house tonight, or vice versa, because he's off on the weekends. So he takes in consideration, well, since I'm off, we'll stay at your house, so it's easier versus driving 40 minutes to work.
Right,
So he
right.
does help with that.
Well, that's good. So if you were to wake up tomorrow and you lived closer to your job, lived closer to school, didn't commute as much, and you had the position at work that you wanted, because that seems like that's the the main top four things that's going on with you.
Right.
That and that's a lot. That's a lot. What do you think your life would look like if all that fell into place correctly, just in the morning when you woke up?
I think it would be nice because even if a miracle came, we would be living together, so the commute with everything it would be right in the middle. It would be nice. Going to school or going to work. It wouldn't be 40 minutes. It'd be 10 or 15. Um, Obviously, I love my sleep, so that would help there too. So,
Okay.
I mean, it would be nice if something just came.
So is that your miracle if you woke up and you were still going to school and still had your job? Or would your miracle be I'm out of school and I'm not at Sam's any longer and I'm my Monday through Friday and
That would be really nice. I would love Monday through Friday. I've kind of been looking other places because I like Sam's and I like some of the people I work with. I love what I do, but I don't want to stay there. Obviously, I'm working towards a degree now. I'm in school to be, what you're doing now, a social worker. Um, so I just feel like, if a miracle came, that would be nice. I'd be out of school with, masters or wherever, it took me, and then hopefully working into a school setting or something. So I don't want to stay at Sam's, but I think why I'm there, I wish I can get the most experience and benefits that I can
right,
for my next position. Obviously, it's on the other side versus retail, but there's still experience that you can gain to
right.
go somewhere else.
So do you think you said you lost your mom and you have your dad and your boyfriend and then no, are your boyfriend's does your boyfriend live with his parents also?
He
You
lives with
guys
his mom. He
okay.
lost his dad 2 years ago too.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we actually met each other in March of this past year. So we've been together almost a year. So, I mean, we had just started dating right after, you know, everything happened.
Right, right.
Like his father passed in October, and then my mom passed of January of 14, and his dad was October 13.
Oh
So they're
wow.
really, really close, and then we met March of 15.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was almost a year after our parents.
Right. So regarding the people that are in your life, your dad, your boyfriend's mom, obviously because you stay the night there as well.
Hmm.
Um, so obviously we consider her part of your life.
Yeah, I do love her. She's
So
awesome.
what do you think they would notice a change in you if you woke up tomorrow and this miracle happened where you're Monday through Friday
I
and
think they would. Obviously, we she doesn't want grandkids, right away. But I think, if a miracle happened, we would both be happy. Because, sometimes I feel like I'm working paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck.
right,
And I have a car payment, I have a couple credit cards, which I only have one that has a balance. But I feel like that's where my money is going. And it'd be nice if you just had a little bit of load, a little bit. And obviously, with having weekends off, like I feel like I miss a lot of like family activities that I can't go to because of I have to work.
right. Now, if something's going on outside of work, it's a family outing or whatever, does the boyfriend go
Yes.
so he
Or I
can
go to his side.
right,
So he's now I think that he's met me and obviously his father's passed. I feel like we both are more family oriented.
correct,
So I think it does help.
yeah, and that
So
one
and him and my dad get along really well. So
that's
it's
good.
really nice.
That's always good.
So
Okay, now can you remember a time when your life, everyday life, wasn't as stressful?
I think sometimes whenever I was a cashier,
So when you didn't have as many,
I guess responsibilities
right,
on top of me. So, I mean, because then, I just went in, cashiered and obviously got numbers, not like every single thing, like returns or selling memberships, which I'm good at, but that's just something else that was loaded.
right. Now, with a with a promotion, is that going to give you more responsibility though?
Yes,
And
take it.
you're willing to take on,
But see, like, I know the desk too, wherever I move, it's still going to be a part of me
right,
because I know the knowledge. Like, they have a position over an optical, which optical is not really I guess busy. I mean, it's still busy. They still have people over there, but as far as the front end, getting everyday customers, I don't think they're as busy. And I mean, I would love to move over there just to get that experience,
right.
but I feel like, oh, they're not going to pick me because I know the knowledge of everywhere else.
Right.
And sometimes enough knowledge, I think, holds me back too.
You think that because you are because you run the front desk so smoothly, and
Right.
you're not going to other people asking questions, and
Right. Not as
people
much
are
as
coming to
anymore
you
now that I
asking
know.
questions. And yeah,
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it sounds like that you're good at what you do. um, I would definitely try to maybe ask somebody, talk to somebody
Right.
regarding, you're happy where you're at, you're happy what you're doing, but you just feel like you're getting paid unfair, possibly, word it your own way. Um, it's just a suggestion of something that you could do.
Right.
Or if I mean, I
And
would definitely would talk
sometimes
to
too,
somebody.
like I mean, with training the associates, and it's like I train them, and sometimes I feel like they don't use their brains that they have, especially the knowledge that I've gave them.
Right.
And I tell them, obviously, because I used to have notes, and I actually gave them to another trainee I was training. And I'm like, I wish I would have kept my notes, because no, people that train me help me establish some notes, and sometimes notes does help, but then hands-on's usually more. But I just feel like sometimes they should utilize their notes, not
Right,
ask me
definitely.
every question, or if they're doing something wrong, ask them versus doing it the wrong way.
Hmm.
Because I know a lot of people try to do that too.
Right.
And I usually try to go 5 miles an hour when I'm doing something because I'm used to it, so it's kind of rocket science to me. And then sometimes I feel like I should slow down for them, but it's like, well, if I try to tell them what I did, they're all over the place.
Right. Right.
So
Okay. So I'm not sure. So you want to move up. You want a promotion
mhm.
in your job. Um, it's good that you're pushing hard. So, you're showing that you're capable of doing everything that you're asked. You sounds like you go above and beyond. It seems like, we need to come up with something that you can do possibly next week while you're at work. Um, as far as I'm not real sure how your work plays out, like your day to day at work.
Right.
Um, do you ever have? You said that you have talked to others, you have talked to people above you, or you have not.
I've talked to a few people.
How did that conversation go?
They always say, well, we'll see what we can do. So it's
Right. So do you think if you,
and then sometimes I feel like I want to tell them why I don't want to train these people no more.
that's what I was going to ask you, do you think that if you said that to them, would that affect your role?
Maybe to an extent, but I mean, when training people, a manager should do it anyways. There's a supervisor,
Right.
not an associate. So I mean, they just if I talk to them, obviously they know that I'm good at it, but it's like, what is the outcome for me?
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm not getting anything, or the knowledge I'm giving them, they're somewhere else or not with James anymore.
Okay. So do you want, let's set up a goal here of, do you want to really try for a promotion, or do you want to really try for a raise, or is that hand in hand that has to go together?
If a promotion comes, then there is a raise. There is a level.
Is there any way to talk to somebody about, look, I'm training all these people that are coming in. Do you think that, you could get not necessarily a promotion, but some type of, I don't, obviously they have it set up stages,
Mhm.
you know, um, so they probably don't have a trainer label.
Right.
Um, but that's something that you can talk to somebody about, right? I mean, would you feel comfortable talking to somebody about that?
Sometimes I feel like I already have, like I put especially whenever they tell me I didn't get promoted, I put all my stuff on the table and they're like, well, don't feel like that. When we were running for managers or supervisors, they got looked over a lot of times. And it's like, sometimes I feel like it's not fair. And I'm like, if they ask me again, I feel like I don't even want it now because of
kind of feel like you're wasting your time.
Right. Like if you're gonna interview me, then interview me, but don't. If you're not gonna take me, why go through the process?
Right, right. They built you up and then tell you no.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like do you, can you can you think of I'm not sure where to go with this because it sounds like you've done so much to try to get that promotion, and it's when it was less severe for you when you were a cashier.
Right. And sometimes I feel like, oh, should I just back down and just forget it all? But since I know how to run the desk, even if I went down, they're gonna be like, oh, well, you know how to run the desk, go back.
You're still gonna have to, yeah,
Help out, right?
do that with, yeah. Now, are there openings at the store now that you've applied for, that you have any interviews coming up with or anything, or
I
coming
don't
up?
think there's any openings right now besides the one in optical.
And have you applied for that one?
Well, I put it in because we have to put it in like a requisition, like a career preferences, and it's in there. And I know like one day the coach over optical did want to talk to me, um, because she knew that I put it in, but we've been so busy, and she's actually in school too to be a social worker. So, it's a lot of like, when is she going to be there? When can we talk? So, and like I said, sometimes I feel like, I would love it over there, but I would still be part of the desk.
Right. Because anytime they're short or anything, they're gonna call you and want you to come up there and fill in, and
Right.
people out there is gonna ask you questions, and
Or they'll, call my extension, hey, this or that, And, sometimes I still, I ask for advice or, hey, which way to go because, sometimes I get, brain stuck. But it's not like every single day, sometimes it's got a recall of, what I did, before with this process.
right, right. Okay, so do you think that can you see yourself reaching out to her to talk to her? Is that who the woman that is in optical, is that who you have to speak with regarding that position?
Right.
Okay. And do you think she would be honest with you if you were just to talk to her non-professional? Do you know what I mean? Not on the record, but like just you happen to see her in the store one day and you just kind of small talk with her.
I think it would help. It's just trying to, find her.
Kind of let her know that you are interested and
Right. And I mean, I know she knows it's in my rec, and I know that they're moving another person to the desk. So hopefully, if we get full staffed, or I know they mentioned that they were going to move a couple people around or let them go, but it's like, especially Christmas season, people need to get on the ball.
right,
And I would love to move a position, and I would hate to like go down a level, but I think it would benefit me, and like experience.
right, right. That's definitely something good to go on your resume for the future. It's
Right.
different, you now how long have you been there?
2 years.
That's good. That's good. Um, so do you want to try next week? You can, try to reach out to her at
Okay.
some point.
To talk
Um,
to her about it.
right. Just, hi, just general conversation, not,
Too much work related, just to.
right. Just let her know that you're interested. Let her know that, you've really been wanting to move and you know that it's a little bit more,
Right, responsibility
right,
or.
more responsibility that you're willing to take on. Um,
Right, because I know like sometimes too when you move to like pharmacy, like they give you the option of getting some kind of certificate or license. That would be really nice if that end of the store did that, like optical. Like, hey, we're gonna let you do this, but if I wanted to be a pharmacist or higher up and like on that end,
right,
why getting my
right.
degree? A lot of times too, like I tell everyone this, a lot of because I'm definitely shy to an extent, but I know a lot of times, communication, once, you talk to someone and, like talk to someone else, you get that communication and then, to be able to go higher, like your I don't even know what the word is called. Not like your resources, but there's a word for it. Just if you know, like a chain, if you know all these people and this person, give you recs and
Right.
to let you know, oh, I know her, well, and what I am and what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, yeah, yeah. You could definitely. I mean, if there's anybody in the store that you can reach out to, and do you think that you could recommend me, or do you think you could give me a recommendation? Just anything like that. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, what do you think your ability to conquer this is?
To what, move to another position?
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably like an 8 or 9. I wouldn't say a 10 just because, but I would say, I mean, just because of the knowledge. I know a lot about the store. Um, the lady over that, position, or the coach up there, is really nice. I mean, so hopefully we will get a good outcome, but I will, speak with her sometime this week before we meet again.
Okay. Well, I do think that is it today. Um, we'll definitely get back together next week to go over things that you've tried, any conversation that you've had with her.
Okay.
Um, hopefully a good outcome comes from
Right.
it. And if you have any questions or anything, just feel free to call me. It's never an issue.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye. That was all.